What's up, YouTube? This is Wawa Echo. My name is Parker, and welcome back to the Raw Rundown, where we take a look at Raw for this week, and we give the good parts an up, and we give the bad parts a down. I want to say thank you to Zach for filling in last week over here on Raw Rundown. I was, of course, on vacation, and I do appreciate that he was willing to pull double duty. But let's jump into Raw this week. And we start off with the promo by Kurt Angle. It was really good. Angle brought out all the superstars that were attacked by SmackDown last week, and he apologized for putting them in that situation. And he said that they were going to make sure that Raw was the better brand, and they were going to get their revenge on SmackDown, and all that was really good. And then Stephanie McMahon actually returned and parted the sea of performers like she's some sort of Moses, and she came to the ring, and she was a bit annoying. She almost made me want to give this a down because I'm kind of sick of Stephanie's character and how she is and how she just berates everyone and threatens to fire them for not doing how she thinks they should do. But everything beforehand with Angle was good enough to still warrant this being an up. Though I am going to give a down to the crowd for this Raw because I did not enjoy the crowd at all. They really took me out of it during the promo that Angle was giving. They kept shouting "what," which to me is the most annoying, one of the most annoying chants that the crowd does because they don't do it when they need to do it or when like it's appropriate to do it, like when it's a heel. They just do it for anyone that's talking, which is super annoying. It's really disrespectful. Kurt Angle was putting all he had into that, and it was really good. And they were just being really disrespectful. And honestly, they're kind of the reason why I gave a couple of matches down the card later down, because they were so not interested for no reason that it made it hard for me to really get into the match. So the crowd was really crappy today. I think they were or yesterday. I think they were in Baltimore. So Baltimore, you suck. Not really. I'm sure most of you are okay. But those that went to Raw, you guys suck. Please subscribe. The first match that we had of the night was Nia Jax versus Bayley, and it's getting a down. This is the 1.5 million time that we have seen this match between the two of them, and I don't believe I've ever once enjoyed their matches, and I don't think I ever will. This was not very good. I don't think they have good chemistry. I don't really enjoy any match that Nia Jax has ever had other than those squash matches she had at the very beginning of Raw when the brand split first happened. And it just wasn't good. It wasn't enjoyable. It was obvious that Nia was going to win because it was her debut match since because she returned after having a couple weeks off. So it was obvious she was going to be the winner, and there was just no point of it. Why are we continuing to bury Bayley? It's just not good. I'm also going to give a down for Alicia Fox because, for one thing, she's captain of the Raw Women's Survivor Series team when she absolutely should not be. I think the only reason that she was made captain is because Vince has a really crappy sense of humor and he thinks that Alicia's funny. Alicia is not funny. She's awful. She sucks. She's weird. It's not good. I don't like it at all. You can, if you for some reason like her, you can put why you like her in the comments and I'll tell you why you're wrong. Alicia Fox is awful. That gimmick is terrible. I do not want her on my television, and I'm sorry. Like, I know that she needs a job, and she's doing what they're telling her to do, and it's not really her fault, but I just do not enjoy it. And so at the end of the match, she was being really stupid and acting like she was some ship captain on an intercom and said, "Nia Jax, I want you to be my first member of my Survivor Series team," which is also really dumb because I don't understand the whole thing about captains. Um, because for some reason, Alicia Fox, being captain of her team, she's getting the chance to pick who she wants on her team, but on SmackDown, they listed off the 5 people on the women's team, and then they assigned one of them as captain. That doesn't seem right. And then Randy Orton was made captain of the men's SmackDown team, but he's not able. He's not given the chance to appoint anyone as on the team either. They're doing qualifiers for that. Like, it's really weird that they're giving one captain that power of being able to pick their team just because Vince thinks that they're funny when they're not, and that's just weird. It's not getting like an up or it's not getting a down. It's just confusing. And when I saw Alicia Fox doing this as captain, like announcing Nia Jax, I just thought it was really weird. Next, though, we had the return of Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe was fantastic last night. And he had a match with Apollo Crews. And they had a really good match. Apollo really got to show off some of his physicality. And, man, he was taking bumps really good. Really good for Samoa Joe. He was making Samoa Joe look really strong, and then he was able to put on some offense. I hate that they're underutilizing Apollo Crews. I think he's really good, and I think he has the chance to move up the card a bit. But the match they had together was really good, and the promo that Samoa Joe put on before the match, and then his continued holding of the Coquina clutch on Crews after the match was over, and then him throwing it on Titus O'Neil as well. That was really good. All of that is amazing. So glad that Samoa Joe's back. He was very missed. He's amazing. And this match gets a huge up. The next match we had was The Miz versus Matt Hardy for the Intercontinental Championship. This was a little like it was kind of random. I think that it was this match was given to The Miz as punishment for being late to Raw. Um, but I enjoyed the match. The match was really good, even though it was a bit random that it was suddenly like a title shot for Matt Hardy. I thought the match was really good, and I actually thought that there was a chance that Matt Hardy would have won, because I don't understand a lot of the champion versus champion matches that they've gotten for Survivor Series, because most of them are all heel versus heel matches. And so I thought that there might actually be the chance that Matt might win, so that the match for the between up against Baron Corbin might actually be another face versus heel instead of a heel versus heel. Because honestly, I don't think the Miz versus Baron Corbin is going to be a very good match, to be honest. Uh, but anyways, this match was really good, and the Miz did retain the championship, um, which was disappointing. I would love to see Matt Hardy with some gold. That would be amazing. But the match was really good, and it gets an up. And also, Bo Dallas was back. That's something. It's not getting an up or anything because it's just Bo Dallas, but it's good to see him there, and that does show that there is that virus that was going around is treatable and not as serious as it could have been. And so hopefully we will see the rest of the roster that has been out return shortly within the next couple weeks. So that's good. Next, we had Asuka facing a local talent named Stacy Cullen, and it was a squash match. And I'm not a fan of these kind of matches, that the matches they did with Nia Jax and Braun Strowman to kind of try and get them over. Didn't really work for Nia Jax. It really worked for Braun Strowman, where they get like some nobody from the hometown and have them just die for no reason. I don't enjoy those matches. That's just my taste personally. But I did give this an up just because I feel like they're finally using Asuka correctly. I feel like that should have been the kind of matches she had at TLC and last week on Raw, which was not what they had, especially since they've fired Emma, which was really stupid, I think, because I thought Emma was pretty good. So why, if they knew they were going to fire Emma, why not just have those two matches be super squash matches to make Asuka look strong? I don't know, but so I'm glad that they seem to be starting to use Asuka a bit better. Hopefully that'll lead to her going after the women's championship. So that got enough. I don't know if I said that. Next, we had Daniel Bryan talking to Kurt Angle, and uh, Kurt Angle was very untrusting of Daniel. Daniel was trying to tell him that he didn't know anything about what Shane was going to do last week and all this stuff, and he was apologizing and all that. Kurt wasn't really having any of it because he trusted Shane, and then Shane betrayed his trust, so he wasn't going to trust Bryan. And so he left, but he was like, you know what, I know that if my roster sees you, they're going to kill you, and so just stay in my office for a little while, and then and you'll be all right. But then the lights went out, and the door apparently was locked, and Daniel Bryan could not get out. So somehow Kane was able to materialize into the room without the need to open the locked door, and Kane grabbed Daniel. We just barely saw this through the light on Daniel Bryan's phone, and he choke slammed him, which led to doctors coming in and getting him in a gurney and sending him out. I did not give this a. I can't give this an up or down just because I'm not sure what to think about it. In a way, like the talk between Bryan and Angle was good, but I don't know. It wasn't worth an up to me. And then the Kane attacking Daniel Bryan was just really random, really weird to me. Because, Kane and Daniel Bryan were tag team champions, and they were best friends. They went through that huge storyline, and Daniel Bryan's one of the few people ever in Kane's life that actually has been nice to him. So why would Kane suddenly just attack him randomly for no reason? Especially since Kane wasn't attacked on Raw last week by anyone on SmackDown, so he shouldn't have the need to be angry. So I don't know. It was just confusing. I don't know if this is leading to Daniel Bryan's departure from WWE, if they haven't cleared him, and we all know that Daniel wants to wrestle more, and so if he isn't allowed to do it in WWE once his contract expires, he's going to go off somewhere else and do it. So I don't know if that's setting up for that, or if it's setting up for Daniel Bryan actually wrestling in WWE. Hopefully the latter is the truth, but until we know, either way, I can't give this an up or a down. So next, we had Finn Balor versus Cesaro. This is random to me. I don't know if they explained why this was the match. It just seemed thrown together. And a problem I had with it is that honestly, neither of these two men needed a loss. Cesaro is part of a great tag team, and they're going for the tag team championships. And honestly, I can't wait for Cesaro to go back to being a single star, and hopefully he's got the chance to go for some gold in singles because he deserves it. And then Finn Balor is really great, and his build for some reason since he's came back has been so slow and such a slow burn, which is so confusing since we had last year. It was the fastest and hottest, like, rise up the card that I've ever seen, probably ever, and it's just weird. And so I didn't think it was good to put these two in a match because to me neither of them needed to lose. But they did it. This is WWE, and WWE makes stupid decisions like this. Although I'm giving the match an up because Finn Balor and Cesaro are amazing wrestlers, and they put on a heck of a match. And so I could not give the match a down when it was so good. So it's getting up. And Finn Balor did win, which was probably the better decision since Cesaro has had a lot of momentum over the recent months, winning the tag team titles a couple of times, and the awesome matches they had with the Hardys and everything. And so I feel like that Balor needed it a bit more, though I was disappointed to see Cesaro lose because he is one of my favorites. Next, we had, after the match, when Finn Balor won, he was walking up the ramp, and who appears but Kane? Kane appears, and he grabs Finn Balor and tombstone pile drives him for no reason. Well, Finn did attack him first, but it was apparent that Kane was coming after Finn. It wasn't that he was just walking past him to go to his match. He was walking at him and gonna attack again. So Balor, of course, defending himself, and this young guy, like early 30s, was quickly overpowered by this 50-year-old guy, and he was tombstone pile driven onto the ramp. Great. And of course, this led to Kane going for his match against Seth Rollins. And this match against Seth Rollins is getting a down because we had Kane versus Rollins a few years ago, and Rollins always came out on top. So it's hard for me to believe that Rollins would then lose now when he's, to me, better than he was back then, because now he's a face and now he's no longer trying to avoid conflict. He's, the hero that we all want. And so having him lose to Kane, there was the distraction because the Bar did stay at ringside for this match for some reason. I guess because they're still going for the tag team titles, though they haven't talked about that in a while. They stayed at ringside, and they did attack Dean Ambrose, and I think that Seth went to try and save Dean, and then when he came back in the match, I think Kane caught him for a choke slam and then beat him, and so it was just a down. The match wasn't great beforehand, and I just think, why are we having Kane beat all these young people? I am giving a down to Kane burying all these young superstars that are the future of the company. He beat Finn Balor last week, which was really stupid, and then this week attacked him again in tombstone pile driving, like I said. And then he beats Rollins in a match, and then he was gonna attack Rollins even further, and Dean Ambrose comes up to try and save him and gives him the dirty deeds, which is like sending your skull into a mat. That should be more painful, but he sits up like it's nothing, and then attacks Dean Ambrose and tombstone pile drives him, and then gets Seth and tombstone pile drives him, and just you have Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Finn Balor. Those are three of WWE's hottest stars right now. They're three of the favorites by most people. They're the future of the company. Kane, this is his last go. This is his last run, and while I enjoy seeing Kane, again, I've always loved Kane. Kane, as you know, if you looked at our top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time, Kane is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But Kane does not need to be killing the biggest stars in the company. If you want him to kill people like some of the cruiserweights that don't matter, or like Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews, who are usually made as joke characters anyways, if you want to do those things, that's not great, because you should never bury anyone, because there's a chance for everyone to someday be at a higher place than they are now. But doing this to your main event talent right now and future main event talent for years to come, I think it's just really dumb, and it's just, I don't know, they're trying to go off this nostalgia act of Kane because everyone loves Kane because he's been around forever. But honestly, no one really is reacting that great to him. It's not like Goldberg last year where everyone was super hyped by it. It's just Kane, because the problem is that we've seen Kane, though it's been a year since we had seen him. Before then, he had been around constantly, and in most times an annoying role, like when he was Corporate Kane. Goldberg left for a decade, 12 years, I think. And so that's why we were hyped about Goldberg, is because it was such a huge thing, because we hadn't seen him in so long. But Kane, while he's been around for 20 years, which is awesome, he's been around for 20 years. That's a lot of exposure. And, like, so no one's really as excited as I think WWE was hoping they would be by this. And so I'm giving it a down. Like, I just think that this is a mistake on their part to try and use that nostalgia of Kane by burying their up and coming stars. I just think that's a mistake. Next, we had Heath Slater and Rhino dressed up as Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus, respectively, versus Gallows and Anderson, who were dressed up as some characters they play on the Southpaw Regional Wrestling thing that they have on their YouTube channel. This is getting a down. Like, this was one of the most cringeworthy, most awful matches I've seen all year. Like, if we do a list of, like, the 10 worst matches, which I don't know if we are or not, we're definitely doing a 10 best matches, but if we do a 10 worst matches, this will be on that list at some point. This was awful. For one thing, Rhino was wearing a dress, makeup, and granny panties. Tell me again why I watch WWE. Why am I a fan of this? I don't. Sometimes I really wonder why I'm a fan of WWE. This is terrible. The match was awful. Gallows and Anderson, they're not a comedy act. Like, Slater and Rhino have always been kind of comedy, but they were more serious on SmackDown. They were actually good champions, I thought. Gallows and Anderson, this is so awful. Like, everyone knew that it was Gallows and Anderson, even though I don't think they ever called them Gallows and Anderson. Well, I think they did at the end, because I think Michael Cole said Gallows at the end. I'm not sure. But, like, they had wigs on at first. But then I know that Gallows lost his wig. I don't know that Anderson ever lost his, but Gallows lost his wig, and so you could obviously see that it was him. And the match was awful. It was a trick-or-street, like, fight match. It was a no-holds-barred match. And it was awful, and it was, like, Halloween themed, because today's Halloween. It was yesterday on Raw. It was just so bad. It was so bad. The crowd was not into it at all. And this is one of the points where I can't blame the crowd. It was cringeworthy. It was awful. So bad. Why are they disrespecting these people? Putting Rhino in a dress with lipstick and makeup. Like, I know how that feels. I know how that feels to Rhino. And it's awful. At least I didn't have to wear a dress and granny panties. That's so, like, gosh, like, Rhino's so like, cool. He's so awesome. Like, when he gores people, it's one of the coolest things. And then Gallows and Anderson, they're not a comedy act. They're supposed to be this dominant tag team that doesn't give a crap about these stupid stipulations and dressing up and doing all that crap. They're about beating up people and making money. So why were they a part of this? The match was awful. Rhino and Slater won because Gallows and Anderson decided to put on pumpkin heads over their own heads, and Gallows somehow didn't realize that he was putting his pumpkin head on backwards, and so he could not see, and so he could not save Anderson from the pin, and then he thought that they had won, so he raised his hands, and then he took the thing off and saw that they didn't win, and then he just like went to his knees and went to Anderson instead of like trying to kill the people that just beat him like he should have done. He should have like tried to kill them, but he didn't. So like this was just the worst thing I've seen on Raw in so long. Gosh, it was awful. I just want to forget about it. So let's do that. Next up, we had Elias come out, and he played his guitar, and I'm giving it up to Elias because his ability to give heat is so good. It seems to be so easy for him, which is just awesome. It's good to have somebody that can generate heat so easily. It's something that's not seen a lot anymore. And but Elias was a bit. He must have some sort of memory problem because he said that Jason Jordan was not going to interrupt him this week because he would obviously be at home nursing his wounds because he attacked him with a guitar last week. Even though at the beginning of the show, both Elias and Jason Jordan came out to listen to Kurt Angle talk, and they were both easily visible and not standing very far from each other. So Elias has some sort of short-term memory disorder, and I think we should start a charity thing for him to hopefully get that worked out. So, but Elias just gets him up because he's so good at what he does, and it's really nice to see that. But then we did have Jason Jordan come out, and he attacked Elias, but they didn't really get in any sort of confrontation. Well, like he gave him like one like belly to belly suplex, and then Elias ran off. But then he left his guitar, and then Jason Jordan threatened to destroy the guitar, and Elias was like freaking out, even though he destroys his guitar like every week, and every week after that he gets a new one. So obviously he's got an unlimited supply of the exact same guitar, so why is he worried about this guitar when he's not worried about all the other guitars beforehand? That makes no sense, but whatever, it's WWE. We can't have that weird thing called logic. That would be just something, wouldn't that be? Um, and then Jason acted like he wasn't going to do it because he's the good old face. But then he decided to stomp on and destroy it, and so Elias got mad about that. So that'll lead to another match, which we don't want to see. So that's getting Jason Jordan and Elias. That part's getting a down. That's just not enjoyable. And then I'm giving another down to. I think I gave a down to this 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'm going to continue giving downs for it until they fix it. And that is the heel and face dynamic for the announcers. It is so annoying to me. It was so annoying hearing Michael Cole talk about how awful Jason Jordan was for going out there and interrupting Elias and and destroying his guitar and all this stuff while Corey Graves was talking about that it was great that he did that and like all this stuff. Like, Jason Jordan is the face, Elias is the heel. Corey Graves is the heel announcer, Michael Cole is the face announcer. Therefore, Michael Cole should be on the side of Jason Jordan and Corey Graves should be on the side of Elias. But they're on the opposite sides, and that really annoys me. I don't like it. And then Booker T's in there saying stupid crap like shucky ducky and oh god, oh no, and this stupid crap. So he's in this down too because he sucks. I hate Booker T so much on commentary. Just give me David Otunga who doesn't ever talk. I'd much rather have David Otunga who never talks than hearing oh god, ooh, and all this crap. I hate him. Hate him so much. So yeah, the announcers getting it down because they're stupid. They don't understand their roles. It's really annoying. Next, we had Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James for the Raw Women's Championship. Like, the match between them was pretty good. Like, it was like mostly average. There wasn't like anything like great about it or anything. It was just your typical Raw match. But the crowd was more dead than I've ever seen them before. Like, literally, they were on their butts. They didn't care. Even when pinfalls came, they didn't care. Like, and when the match was over, they didn't care. And I don't understand this, because, like this was an alright match. Like, I think it might have been better than their TLC match. Like, it might have been, I don't know. They were both neither awesome or match of the year quality, but not terrible. I don't know, it's just, it bothers me that and because the crowd wasn't into it, even though it was an alright match, like, I'm giving it a down because, like, I couldn't get into it because the crowd wasn't getting into it, and like that's a huge part about a live audience. Is a live audience is a huge part of how the stuff is perceived. If a live audience isn't into it, no one else can get into it because you're live and it's real and it's in your face. So I don't know. It was disappointing, but I already gave the crowd a down, so I'm not going to give them another one. But the match just gets it down. But thankfully, we end on goodness. So throughout the show, and I didn't give like ups or downs to these little few segments because they didn't seem to have enough substantialness to them to give an up to, but they were good. So when the Miz and Miz Taraj finally came to Raw, even though they were late, they found garbage in their locker room, and Miz immediately knew that Braun Strowman was back. This I feel like was a mistake because it took away from the surprise. Like we all knew at that point that Braun Strowman was going to come back. Like we all knew he was going to come back at some point, but that made us know, oh, he's coming back this week. And that was a mistake. I felt like they shouldn't have done that. And so he had Miz going around. So he went to Kane and was like, hey, Kane, we need to do something. Kane was like, no, you're on your own. And then he went to the bar, and the bar was like, no, you're on your own. And so Miz and Miz Taraj tried to leave, and Kurt Angle stopped them from leaving and said that they weren't allowed to or they'd get fired. And I think that's why he threw Miz in the match with Matt Hardy. And then, but at the end of Raw, they got in their limo and they were happy. They were like, we made it, we survived. Braun Strowman didn't show up. And so, of course, the limo was blocked by a garbage truck. And I'm really surprised that it took The Miz so long to realize, after being so paranoid all night about this, about Braun Strowman, he should have, as soon as he saw a garbage truck at Raw, he should have like automatically known. But at first he was like, oh, just go around him, blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't until like it started to like the door started to like come up that he like started to freak out at all. And so they tried to get out. Doors were locked, and then suddenly Braun Strowman arose from the garbage. Must have sucked for him. And so finally they were able to learn how to unlock doors, and they ran, and Braun Strowman ran after them. They, of course, go out into the arena where the crowd's at, and Braun Strowman proceeds to murder, and it was fantastic. Braun Strowman he running power slammed Curtis Axel 4 times in the middle of the ring, back to back to back to back. All the time, the crowd was cheering more and more and again and again. And this was the only time that the crowd actually got into it the whole night, and it was awesome. It got you so hyped. And then it proved that Strowman is indeed, for the time being, face, it seems. And they started shouting table, 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 and so he carries Curtis Axel up to where the announcers are, and he power slams Curtis Axel for a 5th time through the announce table, and of course he murders Bo Dallas as well, and then the Miz, and it was utterly fantastic. It was the best part of Raw all night, and it's getting a huge up. That was Raw. Overall, a disappointing Raw, in my opinion. You may disagree, but in my opinion, there were 7 ups and 9 downs. If you did disagree, then please let me know in the comments. These are just these that we do on the Raw Rundown and SmackDown Survey. These are our own opinions, and you're entitled to a different one. And so I do want to hear what you guys have to say. If you thought this was the best Raw of all time, then let me know. I would disagree, of course, but it's everyone's personal freedom as an American to feel a different way. But if you did enjoy this kind of long-winded, there were a couple of matches where I may have went a little too far, but gosh, some of these were just awful. Some of this Raw was just utterly atrocious. But if you did enjoy any of it, please, I would appreciate if you would hit the like button for me. It would mean a lot to us. And if you have anything that you'd like to say about this Raw, how much you hated stuff, how much you love stuff, please let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy our content and want to see more Raw rundowns, more SmackDown surveys, if you don't want to miss any of our prediction videos and reactions and aftermaths for pay-per-views and anything else in between, then make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. With that, guys, that's the end of the Raw rundown. I hope you did enjoy. It's good to be back. The vacation was great, but I love doing this, and I did miss doing this last week. But with that, guys, I'm gonna get on out of here. My name is Parker. This has been Wawa Echo, and we will see you very soon. Peace.